Hey familia, I hope this video finds you in great health. Before we jump into today's video, I'm super excited to introduce my very first merch drop to you guys. As you know, it is the fall season going into winter, and I just curated a small but effective cozy collection for you guys to cozy up with as you enjoy a good old BonitaBocazas true crime video or really whatever else it is that you like to watch. So for this drop of merch, we have customized premium pullover hoodies that come in an assortment of colors and a few different designs that you can take a look at right here real quick, keeping you nice and warm during these seasons. We have mugs, white and black, because I know y'all need y'all mugs for y'all good old hot beverages like tea or hot cocoa, coffee or whatever. And it has my channel art on there with an I love true crime text for that personalized BonitaBocazas touch. And lastly, we have the insulated tumbler customized with a handprint and sip and solve text on there for either hot or cold beverages that keeps them at their temperature. And you can take it with you everywhere. Shoot, you can even put some soup in there for lunch and take it with you to work. But more items can and will be added as time goes on. But for now, you got your cozy essentials right here at my store on Teespring. Be sure to find the link to my store in my description box. It'll be the first thing you see in my description. I'll also have it pinned in my comments, and I'll place a card on the screen somewhere in the middle of this video that you can click on that will lead you straight to my Teespring store. These items are perfect for yourself, of course, or even as a gift to anyone who loves true crime. And you can say, hey, make sure you tune into BonitaBocazas channel as you give them their gift. And listen, as a cherry on top, when you make your purchases, it would be so cool if you took pictures with your items when you receive them and send them to my email. Of course, with your permission only would I post them to the community wall. And yes, you can remain faceless, so no worries on that. Thank you so much for your support with the Cozy Collection merch. And now let's get into today's story. Jordan Klee was born July 26, 1998 in Ypsilanti, Michigan to his beautiful mother, Karen Ann Klee. His father, Sean Romeo Bristol, reportedly passed away as the result of a car crash some months before Jordan was even born. But Karen kept Sean's memory alive for her son as she and Jordan would go visit his father's gravesite over the years. Jordan and his mother had a great mother and son relationship. And like a lot of single moms, Karen had to spend some time away from home so she could work 2 jobs in order for her to provide for herself and Jordan. But that didn't stop her from being present for her son and making sure they spent time together and that he stayed on the right track. Any bit of free time she got, she took advantage of it by spending that time with Jordan. They reportedly would have what she called chill nights, where they would just, lounge around, hang out, eat popcorn while watching movies together. And Jordan wasn't too cool to hang out with his mom, but he also enjoyed a bunch of other things growing up, like barbecuing, riding his bike. He loved to swim. And Carrie made sure that he stood busy as she had him in karate for a while throughout his elementary and middle school years. As a teenager, he went to Pioneer High School in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where he maintained a 3.7 GPA. He also played on the PHS football team for 2 years, where it was reported how dedicated he was to his team. His mother said he wanted to play football since he was young, so it made sense that he never missed a team function or an off-season workout, deeming him to be a star athlete at his school. When Jordan wasn't collecting good grades in the class, he was collecting awards, reportedly nabbing an NAACP award and the Scholar Athlete Award for academic excellence. Jordan was on the right path, and it was reported that he expressed how after he was done with high school, he had hopes of attending the University of Michigan. Jordan was clearly goal-driven as a young man, but his personality was also described to be energetic. He was the happy-go-lucky type. He was the life of the party, quote-unquote. It was said that he loved to work with his hands and he was very crafty. And after contemplating contemplating on what he wanted to do as a career for the rest of his life, he went through the process of elimination as most young people do. You know, he once wanted to be a firefighter, also EMT, evidently football, but it was reported that he finally settled his mind and wanted to work in the mechanical field with dreams of being an engineer. His mother said he was super passionate about that. She described him as a kid who was always smiling. He loved the camera. He was always smiling and posing for the camera. She said he was just, outgoing and an overachiever at school, both academically and athletically. And for all that Jordan had good going on for himself, it's a shame that he would never be able to live out the rest of his dreams. You see, according to reports in 2016, 18-year-old Jordan Klee was allegedly living on his own at the Pine Lake Village apartment complex in Ann Arbor, Michigan. However, after leaving his home one day with the thought that he'd be making it back as usual, he unfortunately never made it back. It was Tuesday, October 4th, 2016, when Jordan Klee was stopped by 3 young males not too far from his home. Apparently, the young men wanted to rob him for whatever money they believed he had, his clothes, and his shoes. It's not clear if Jordan put up a fight or what. What happened next was completely unnecessary. One of the young men, 17-year-old Dante Wright, pulled out a firearm and shot Jordan, killing him with a single shot. The young men involved ran off and left Jordan's lifeless body laying outside in broad daylight where anyone could see him. And at approximately 3 p.m. that day, Jordan's lifeless body was found in the pathway near the apartment complex by a maintenance worker. The community was devastated. It had reportedly been the first homicide of 2016 in Ann Arbor, and the people were in shock. A young teenage boy who lived his life walking a straight line, minding his business, completing his goals, was taken away in an instant and for absolutely no reason. Those who heard of what happened left balloons and some stuffed animals, candles, flowers, and other items in the walking path where Jordan was found in his memory. People rallied around Jordan's mom to offer as much support as they possibly could as she come to the crippling reality of having to bury her son. Students who knew Jordan spoke to how much fun he was to be around and just an overall cool guy. On Friday, October 7th, the Pioneer High School had a football game, and they took some time to honor Jordan's memory as they had a moment of silence and holding up poster boards that read, "We love you, number 42, which was his jersey number. The team carried his jersey to the benches and sat it down on the bench, and at times would even walk over to the bench and pat his jersey as if he were right there in the physical realm watching him play. They also did a balloon release for him, and of course his mother was right there present in the stands.
Go! Release in memory. Go! Donation! Go!
By that following Monday, on October 10th, 2 17-year-old males, one of them being Dante, were taken into custody for the homicide of Jordan. The other 17-year-old was a young man named Delrano Gracie, and following them up was 18-year-old Jermarius Ellison. Thankfully, it didn't take long to detain all 3 teenagers, and they all pleaded guilty. Karen was sure to have Jordan's burial next to his father's, the one he had visited for so many years. In the following year, June of 2017, Dante Wright gave a shocking confession about his crime at the Washtenaw County Trial Court and accepted a plea deal on 4 counts, which included second-degree homicide, armed robbery, and homicide, plus felony firearm. As the prosecutor asked him specific detailed questions about what exactly happened the day he took Jordan's life, Dante explained how he and his Codis were attempting to rob Jordan and said that he shot Jordan in the head area when he killed him. And Jordan's mother sat in pain as she had to listen to Dante speak about what he'd done, and he spoke about it in a very cold, matter-of-fact manner. Even as he learned that he would be facing anywhere from 23 to 50 years in prison, plus an additional 2 years for felony firearm, he just stood there, soulless. Family members of Dante Wright reacted in the courtroom during the hearing with tears and angst as they sat there and listened to his sentencing, showing their support for their loved one who's still alive and breathing, unlike Jordan. As Karen's victim impact statement was read aloud for her because she was too distraught to deliver the words herself, Dante was in the courtroom and had the audacity to be smiling and grinning the entire time he sat literal feet away from Karen as she sobbed and boo-hooed and cried over the loss of her son at his hands. When the judge asked Dante if he had anything else he wanted to say, instead of showing remorse, Dante looked at Jordan's family and said, quote, "Yeah, I just wanted to tell y'all I'll be home soon. I love my family," end quote. It was certainly hard to watch.
Taken for what? Why? Can you answer the question? Why? Why? I have an answer. Your answer will never be good enough. There will never be an answer good enough to satisfy why you shot my son. Why you thought that what you had should be yours. Why you felt that what you wanted, you were entitled to. Why you thought his death was an acceptable response to your jealousy or desire to what he had. Drugs, clothes, money, jewelry, phones, shoes, whatever it was that you felt you needed more than his life. Your why will never be better than his life. Your want will never trump my son's death. You get to live, get to wake up every day. Your life continues. I sincerely hope that whatever it was you wanted so badly that you felt the need to murder my son was worth the next at least 52 years of your continued existence. You won't get the luxury of raising your child because you took mine away. So because for the first time in my life, I feel hate in my heart, here is what I hope. I hope that every time you want for a jacket, that you stay cold. I hope that every time you want for shoes, you get a hole in yours. I hope that every time you want for a meal, you go hungry. And I hope that every time you want for a bed, you have a sleepless night. I hope that every time you wish for your mother, she doesn't come for a visit. But more than anything, because we and I am nothing like you, I don't wish or hope any of that upon you. I simply wish that you go to prison for the maximum time your plea agreement allows, that you become something more than what you were taught to be in your miserable life, and that your child gets brought up far away from the life you led, because it's obvious to me and everyone here that you need help. Your actions have led you to a prison cell, but have also created an empty cell that I live in every day. While you can still hope to be released one day, I'll never escape my hell. You are still alive, but Jordan has no future. Thank you, Your Honor. We're done. Are you all right?
And further, Mr. Goldstein.
Your Honor, just briefly, the pre-sentence report indicates that my client made a statement to the probation officer who prepared the report indicating that it was never his intention to injure. All right. Your Honor, my client, the only thing I would say, Your Honor, is that if the court is intending to follow the plea agreement, then I don't really have anything for my client wants to address the court, but I don't.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wright, what would you like to say?
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
The judge in this case was disgusted with Dante's behavior.
You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties. But watching you sit there, smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony murder, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do.
During sentencing, the prosecutor brought forth the detail that Dante was allegedly a gangbanger who rapped about the lifestyle he lived, portraying those words in his real life. If I'm to assume, these details would have been significant in how much time he should have received, considering he would be deemed a menace to society, to be quite frank. However, his attorney argued that raps don't reflect reality, and you guys can tell me what y'all think in the comments, familia. Do y'all believe that rap lyrics, or really lyrics of any kind, should be used against an artist in the court of law, especially if said lyrics were a real life occurrence? Let me know. Now, Dante's mother Antoinette Carter, seemed to believe that there was no way her son could have committed this crime even after he confessed and smiled and was wearing glee all over his face as he watched Jordan's family barely hold it together. Miss Antoinette stated she will be coming for an appeal because she believed that her son was covering up for somebody else and didn't want to snitch on him. And during a brief interview, she stated that she was sorry for Jordan's mother, but not without mentioning that she was sorry for her own loss, because just like Jordan was supposed to graduate that year, Dante was supposed to graduate as well. Her words. She touched briefly on Dante having some quote unquote mental conditions, but didn't specify which conditions, and said that she believed that Dante smiling in the courtroom was just a result of how he handled everything in life. She said every time he got into trouble or caught up, since he was a little kid, he would just laugh about it.
What do you think about his reaction during the statements that were made in the court that the judge seemed to be
upset about?
Yeah, tell me what you think.
What upsetted me was I'm sorry for her loss, just as well as mine. My son was supposed to graduate this year too, and I mean, it's just bad all the way around. So that's just how I feel.
Do you think he took this lightly? Do you think he took this seriously? How do you think he...
I don't feel like he understands exactly what's going on because of his mental conditions and things like that, and no one has even brought that up or said anything about it. So
can you expand on what those conditions are that you don't feel like we're taking into account?
His mental conditions, I'm gonna put like that. The court systems in juvenile and I had tests done to see if he was a threat to society, which he's not. He sees another psychiatrist here in Ann Arbor, and she also let the attorneys know his diagnosis, what medications he's supposed to be on, that he's have not had since he's been locked up. So, I mean, it's another reason why. The smiling does not have nothing to do with slack of what, how can I say it?
That's just how he handles everything.
That's how he handles everything. As a child, if he was in trouble,
he'll just look at you and smile.
He's gonna smile at you.
In March of 2018, the two other Codys, 19-year-old Jamarius Ellison and 18-year-old Delrano Gracie, were sentenced to 15 to 40 years. Their charges that they pleaded guilty to were armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, and second-degree homicide. Karen and Jordan's grandfather was present for the sentencing hearing. It was reported that Delrano was the most remorseful one towards the family. He offered an apology to not only his own family, but also the family of Jordan, saying, quote, "First, I would like to apologize to my family, especially my mother. She wanted me to do better, but I continue to make the same mistakes that she wished I never made. To the victim and his family, I apologize too." Jamarius, who is the oldest of the three men, offered an apology only to his own family. He never apologized to Jordan's family. My heart hurts for Karen. You know, she already lost Jordan's father, and now she no longer has Jordan. You know, she took a couple losses, significant losses, in just under 2 decades. As I was looking up Dante's sentencing information, I came across a recent mugshot of his, and even in the mugshot, this kid was still smiling. Look at him. He don't care about life at all. 8 years has gone by. This young man is now 25 years old. This is the face of someone who knows he has nothing to lose. And prison is just another way of life for him now. And you know, it is unfortunate that Dante and his Codys, you know, like they're all so very young. They never had to do what they did. And I wish I could just understand why. A part of me feels like that whole gangster image thing got to their heads, but how gangster are you when you targeting a civilian? Jordan posed no threat to these young men. He was minding his business, living his best life. And the messed up part is, for those boys to acknowledge how they knew they disappointed their families, I would like to believe that they came from good homes, you know, just as a spectator telling a story from the outside looking in. And it be like that a lot of times. A lot of times these young people do be coming from good homes. Parents be present. They have all the support in the world that they need. But once they step over that threshold and into the streets, they become enamored by this glamorized street street lifestyle that has roads leading to nowhere. It's a shame, for real. It's already bad enough that these teens were out here trying to rob this young man from material, minute, stupid things. But to take his life is what's really getting me. It just breaks my heart to know that someone so young had the ability to be so calloused and take another young man's life for literally nothing. I understand that Dante's mama may not have wanted to view her son in the light he placed himself in. On that same token, though, as a mother, to watch another mom go through that much pain from losing her child who she can never ever get back, I wish that she had the capacity to hold her son accountable on some sort of level at that time. I know she's hurting too. However, at least she can still hear his voice and go see him if anything, you know? Karen doesn't get to do that with her baby boy no more. And it breaks my heart to have to even visualize that in my head. One mother has to go see her son behind bars for years on out, while the other has to visit her son at a gravesite right next to his daddy. It's tragic all around, for real. I want to send my deepest condolences to Jordan Klee. My heart goes out to you. May your son's spirit live on with you forever. Rest in peace, Jordan Klee. You'll never be forgotten.